Grand Theft Auto 6, for a lot of people, is one of the only reasons to own a PlayStation or an Xbox. And for that reason, it is a video game franchise that many consider one of the most successful ever, that it's one of the best games ever made, that it's the highest selling, and simply put, none of that is true. Minecraft has sold more units. Pokemon brings in more revenue. Mario has sold more games than Grand Theft Auto has. The simple fact of the matter is Grand Theft Auto is a cultural phenomenon to people who simply don't play video games. Grand Theft Auto is only known and recognized because little children think that this is what the adult world really looks like. Grand Theft Auto is a blemish on video games and is very quickly going to fall off the ranks as more and more Nintendo IPs begin to establish themselves as superior franchises. We are going to see Splatoon catch up to it. We are going to see Animal Crossing catch up to it. And Pokemon and Mario are already far beyond Grand Theft Auto and have eclipsed everything that franchise ever was or ever will be. The simple fact of the matter is Grand Theft Auto is not that big of a deal. So to break it down for you all, although Grand Theft Auto 6 will do very well, it will be like a major milestone in gaming. A lot of people will play it and enjoy it for what it is. The reality is Rockstar and Take-Two are in no position to remain competitive with Nintendo long term. Pokemon is reaching all-time new heights with their home console releases, with the trading card game, with their merchandising, with their anime, with like everything they do with their, juggernaut multimedia brand. Mario is becoming bigger than ever with its film adaptations, with its new titles, with like everything that franchise does every year. Okay. I think this is the reality of the situation. The thing that like Grand Theft Auto fans can't wrap their meager minds around. The fact of the matter is Nintendo brands are more flexible and can do more things than Grand Theft Auto. When people play a Grand Theft Auto game, all they want to do is run around like a child and murder police officers. That's basically what Grand Theft Auto is. It is a murder simulator. It is just something that you can cause all this chaos while you ignore the very boring story, the very poorly constructed missions, the lousy world design, and just outdated open world structure. Grand Theft Auto is just a product of its time. It is something that appeals to people who do not play a lot of video games, while something like Mario or Pokemon appeals to a core demographic, people who will like invest in the series, who will take the time to learn all the ins and outs of it, learn a lot about the characters, the mechanics, the world, right? Pokemon, is this evergreen, like eternally relevant, just juggernaut of a thing that's constantly introducing new stuff. And the thing everyone always tries to tell me is this idea that like, well, Grand Theft Auto, like the games sell well way more, but Pokemon is more than just the video games. And that's kind of the thing that like people don't understand is that Grand Theft Auto 5 came out 12 years ago. And in that span of time, we've had a number of high quality, amazing RPGs on 3DS and Switch, all these spin-off games, all these new things, while Grand Theft Auto fans were just languishing in like microtransaction hell. Like Grand Theft Auto 5, sold a ton of units, but did it innovate? Did it do anything new, fresh, or exciting? Did it exceed expectations in any way? No, people only bought Grand Theft Auto because it's Grand Theft Auto, and they had nothing left else to play. Pokemon, on the other hand, innovates every 3 years. With every new generation, we get a new set of Pokemon to collect, a new region to explore, a new, story to unravel with all these twists and turns. And you put a lot of time into these games with no microtransactions whatsoever. And of course, you have all the other material they put out, all that stuff. But the reality of the situation is the argument that Grand Theft Auto 5 sold 190 million units, it completely neglects to mention that a lot of that is on sale and the game has been distributed since 2013. It's been available for a wide range of platforms. They have never stopped selling Grand Theft Auto 5. Meanwhile, you can find copies of, say, Pokemon Gen 3, on the Game Boy Advance. If you go to a used game store, they're worth like $200 because there's such a high demand for them and people want to play them, and they're such iconic games. But like, the value is so high because like the supply is limited, and like my point is, you cannot measure a game's popularity and longevity based purely on sales numbers, because they do not tell the whole story at all. Something like Zelda is really interesting because the narrative is that, like, well, the entire series has only sold 150 million units, and yet somehow the series has endured to become, like, the most critically acclaimed series ever made, and like is still, something that has far surpassed GTA when it comes to world building, when it comes to like combat mechanics, when it comes to like open air design, right? Zelda is the innovator that games like the Elder Scrolls and Grand Theft Auto could never measure up to, essentially. Zelda is more popular than Grand Theft Auto because people are more passionate about the brand. They actually care about the world, the characters, the settings, and they'll come back and play them even like 30 years later. There are kids today still playing like A Link to the Past and the original Zelda, while who do you know who has ever played like the first two Grand Theft Auto games? Maybe you'll have like some like old school fan who will go back and play Grand Theft Auto 3 or Vice City or whatever on occasion. But by and large, those games have not aged well. They weren't very good to begin with. They don't look good. They don't play well. The combat is floaty. The driving is janky. Again, the only reason people get excited about Grand Theft Auto is the theme of being a criminal going after cops. That's the only reason the game is popular. Pokemon, by extension, has its own fantasy setting. It's universally appealing to people. It has its own unique vibe and like personality, and like it's something that really sticks with you like years after the fact. You would be hard pressed finding anyone today who remembers like playing Grand Theft Auto 3 when it first came out, because like fundamentally the game just isn't all that impressive. And I do think that that is something we do need to talk about more when it comes to these situations. Because absolutely, Animal Crossing New Horizons left more of an impact on people. Splatoon has left more of an impact on people. Games like ARMS have left more of an impact on people. Like Grand Theft Auto fundamentally has no identity outside of being a game that that encourages kids, little children, to be criminals. Like that's essentially what this entire franchise is that it doesn't incite creativity, it doesn't spark joy, it doesn't inspire, it doesn't like teach you anything. Like all it does is like show you this world where you get what you want by just shooting everything in sight with no recourse, with no real emphasis on plot or character. It is the video game equivalent of like Alex from A Clockwork Orange. That's basically what Grand Theft Auto is. You are endlessly amused by it when you are a little child, running through like the streets of Los Santos, just blasting people, the ballas, right? And you eventually grow up and realize that like how stupid and immature that actually is. Like it's not fun anymore. Really. And in a lot of ways, it never really was. The only real thrill of Grand Theft Auto, the universally like appealing thing that gets people fired about this franchise, is this idea that you're not supposed to play it. I think if you can get past that mindset, if you can get past like, the controversy and like people calling this out for what it is, and actually judge the series on its own merits, you will realize very quickly that the only reason people get excited about Grand Theft Auto at all is because mom doesn't want you to. Like, and if you get past that mindset, if you like actually start evaluating games based on their own merits, you will realize very quickly that Minecraft is better, that Mario is better, that Pokemon is better. And guess what? Like, all three of those games are way bigger than Grand Theft Auto 5 will ever be, you know? That is the reality of the situation. This is how Grand Theft Auto is going to die. Is just this slow realization that what you're doing in these games is not actually all that fun. It is just a power fantasy for little immature minds.